Welcome to Smart with Screens. I'm Schnelle Acevedo. For 14 years, I built digital marketing campaigns for major brands, including Disney, Netflix, Amazon, Procter& and Gamble. My job was to get you to click, to scroll, and to engage. Now I teach families and schools across New York City how these systems actually work. The algorithms, the psychology, the tricks, so you can make informed decisions about technology. This is Smart with Screens. Let's get into it. I want to take you somewhere with me, not a classroom, not a school auditorium, not a workshop, a braiding shop. I was sitting in the chair because, yes, your girl was getting her hair done, and the shop was full. It was a day before the kids went back from spring break. There were four little kids waiting their turn, and every single one of them had a device in their hands. Which, honestly, I get it. Waiting is hard. Kids need something to do. I am a mother of three. I understand the assignment. But I couldn't stop watching one child in particular. She had an iPad. She was watching Reels or YouTube Shorts, one of those short form video feeds where the content never, ever stops. It just keeps coming, one after another after another. And what I saw over the next several minutes genuinely had me shook. Today, I want to talk about what I witnessed, what the research actually says about what that kind of scrolling does to a child's developing brain, and because I'm not here to scare you without giving you something to work with, three three real alternatives that you can set up on a device right now. Let's get into it. This little girl, I guess she was maybe 7, 8 years old, was scrolling through videos with a speed and decisiveness that honestly caught me off guard. She wasn't browsing, she wasn't watching, she was processing and discarding at a rate that no adult I know could ever keep up with. If a video didn't grab her in 10 seconds, and I'm talking 10 seconds, she scrolled up. Gone. Next. She wasn't bored. She wasn't restless. She was locked in, focused even, just not on any one thing for more than a few moments. And the content itself, and I really want you guys to picture this. It was all over the place. Gaming videos, Barbie videos, kids acting out skits, random sounds, different volumes jumping out at her, different colors, different energy, different everything. As an adult sitting across the room, it was overwhelming to even watch from a distance. But she never blinked. She never flinched. She never looked up. At one point, I started counting. It took a long time, a genuinely long time, before she lifted her eyes from that screen and just looked around the room, just took in her surroundings, just existed in the space she was actually in. That iPad had her hook, line, and sinker. And I sat there thinking, this is not a child's problem. This is also not a parenting failure. This is a design problem, and somebody built this on purpose. Because I want you to have the language matters. When we can name what we're seeing, we can start to do something about it. So, what that little girl was doing has a name. Two of them, actually. The first is doom scrolling, and we talked about this a few episodes back. Most of us have heard this term, and it's the compulsive, hard to stop behavior of scrolling through content, often emotionally stimulating or dramatic, without being able to put the device down. We started hearing this word a lot during the pandemic. But here's what most people don't know. It's not just a grown up problem. Researchers are now seeing this behavior in children as young as 8 years old, and I've seen it in much younger. The second term I want you to hold on to is zombie scrolling. That's the clinical description for what I saw in that braiding shop. Passively moving through content without any purpose, without any intention, without any real engagement, in what researchers describe as a dissociative state of mind. She wasn't choosing videos, she was just moving. The algorithm was choosing for her. And here's the part that should stop you cold. The algorithm knew exactly what it was doing. Short form video platforms, Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, are engineered to capture the brain's craving for novelty. And the algorithm doesn't just serve you content, it learns from you. A brief pause, a half second of eye contact with the screen, that's enough data. The feed adjusts. It escalates, it keeps you in. That little girl wasn't in control of what she was watching, the platform was. Now, let's talk about the research because I know some of you are thinking, hey, Chanel, kids have always zoned out. What's the big deal? The big deal is what this specific kind of content consumption does to a developing brain. And the science is no longer ambiguous about this. In 2025, the American Psychological Association published a review, and this is a big one. Analyzing data from nearly 100,000 participants across 71 studies. What they found? The more short form content a person watches, the poorer their performance in attention and inhibitory control. Attention and inhibitory control. Those are the two cognitive skills that determine whether a child can sit in a classroom, follow a teacher, resist distraction, and actually learn. And it gets even more specific. Researchers found that repeated exposure to fast paced, high stimulating content leads to something called habituation, where the brain becomes desensitized to slower, more effortful tasks. Things like reading, problem solving, deep thinking. The brain starts to go, this is too slow. This is boring. Give me something faster. Now imagine that child sitting down to do her homework that night. There's also the dopamine piece. Every single swipe gives the brain a small dopamine hit, a tiny reward. And over time, researchers are clear on this. That rewires the pathways responsible for attention, motivation, learning, and mood. The brain starts demanding more, faster, louder, more stimulating. Here's the question that stopped me in my tracks when I read it. Researchers are now asking, and I want you to sit with this, whether the rising of ADHD diagnoses in children are actually ADHD, or whether some of what we're labeling as attention deficit disorder is in fact the cumulative impact of years of short form video consumption. About 1 in 9 children in America had received an ADHD diagnosis by 2022. Researchers are saying we need to ask harder questions about what's driving that. I'm not diagnosing anyone, I'm not a doctor, but I am an educator who spends a lot of time in classrooms. And I can tell you, the children I see who struggle most with sustained focus are often the same children with the least intentional boundaries around screen time. That is not a coincidence. And the last thing on research, Oxford University Press named brain rot its word of the year for 2024. Usage of that term in everyday conversation increased 230% between 2023 and 2024. We named it because we're living it, and our kids are living it harder than we are. And here's where I want to be direct with you because this is the part most conversations skip. That little girl in the braiding shop wasn't doing anything wrong. She was doing exactly what a child does when a device is handed to her with no direction, no intention, no boundaries. She followed the machine because the machine is very, very good at what it does. The intervention point is not the child. The intervention point is the adult who handed her the device. And I want to be clear, I am not shaming that parent or guardian. Waiting in a braiding shop with 4 kids is no joke. I have lived that entire situation. You need the kids occupied and you need to keep them quiet. And then iPad is a fast solution. But here's what I know from 14 years of working in content and marketing. The people who built that app, who designed that feed, who engineered that algorithm, they knew exactly what would happen when that child picked it up. They built it that way for engagement, for retention, for time on platform. They were not thinking about her homework. They were not thinking about her attention span. They were not thinking about her at all. So if we want different outcomes for our kids, we have to be more intentional than the algorithm. And the good news is we can be. It doesn't take a lot. It takes a decision made before the device hits the child's hand. So let me give you 3 real specific alternatives. Not just put the device away, not just go outside. 3 things you can set up on a device that replace mindless scrolling with something that actually serves the child. Number 1 is my favorite, and that is PBS Kids, and it's completely free. PBS Kids is a curriculum based, educator built, and this is the key difference. It has no algorithm feeding a novelty loop. Shows like Daniel Tiger, Wildcrats, Molly of Denali, they have a narrative structure, a beginning, a middle, and an end. The child has to follow a story, not just react to a flash of stimulation. And here's the most important thing: the show ends. There's no infinite scroll. It stops. That moment of stopping, of the screen going quiet, is actually healthy for a child's brain. It creates space. PBS Kids is free, it's on any device, and it has parental controls built in. Number two, Khan Academy, also free. And this is great for ages 2 through 8. This one is different because it requires a child to do something: tap, respond, choose, answer. It's active, not passive. And that distinction matters enormously. That little girl in the braiding shop was never asked to do anything. The content just came at her. Khan Academy Kids flips that. The child has to engage, they have to think, they have to participate. It covers literacy, math, emotional development, creativity. And it was built by educators, not engagement engineers. Number three, Zigazoo. Free, and this one is strategic. I'm recommending Zigazoo specifically because it looks like short form video, so it doesn't feel like punishment, but it works completely differently. Kids record responses to creative prompts. Everything is reviewed by real human moderators before it goes live. There are no likes, no comments, no follower counts, just stickers and emoji reactions. Here's why this matters from a digital literacy perspective. It flips the child from consumer to creator. Instead of being fed content, she's making it. She's responding, thinking, and expressing. That is the exact shift I try to teach in every school I walk into. Zigazoo makes that shift happen naturally on a device, in a braiding shop, without a lesson plan. So here's what I want you to walk away with today. What you see when a child is zombie scrolling is not laziness. It's not bad parenting. It's biology meeting bad design. The platforms are built to hook. The algorithm is built to hold. And children's brains, still developing, still building the pathways for attention and self regulation, are the most vulnerable users in the room. The research is clear, the attention effects are real, the cognitive consequences are real. And the question researchers are now asking about ADHD diagnoses should make every parent and educator stop and think seriously. But here's what's also true: this is fixable. Not perfectly, not overnight, but intentional decisions made before the device is handed over change the outcome. A different app, a set time limit, watching together instead of alone. These are not big lifts. They are small, conscious choices. And conscious engagement with technology is exactly what I'm here to help build. You cannot outsmart an algorithm you don't know exists. But now you know it exists. Thanks for listening to Smart with Screens. If this episode hit home, share it with a parent, a teacher, a grandparent, anyone who's ever handed a child a device and walked away. This conversation belongs everywhere. You can find more resources and book a digital literacy program for your school or organization at bamdigitalmedia.info. I'm Schnelle Acevedo, and until next time, let's stay smart with screens.